call this September 17th committee meeting of the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission to order. My name is Jim Bledsoe, and I'm chairman of the commission. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody, please turn your cell phones to vibrate, and if you have to take a call, please step out in the lobby to do so. And also, there's a tablet being passed around. Please sign it and put down what group or special interest you're with, and we'll have that for our records. And see Mr. Ron Crabtree come in from Quail Forever. Thanks as always. And Mr. Boyd Barker is here. Miss Barbara, will you call the roll for us, please? I know some of them's going to be a little late, so there you go. Got here just in time.
Chad Baker.
Here.
Jim Bledsoe.
Here.
Harold Cannon.
Here.
Jeff Cook.
Here.
Bill Cox.
Here.
Kurt Holbert.
Here.
Connie King. Jeff McMillan.
Here.
Jim Ripley. Bill Swan.
Here.
Trey Teague. David Watson.
Here.
Jamie Woodson. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Miss Barbara. And also, former Commissioner Boyce Magley just came in. Just trying to recognize all the guests and stuff. We have several committees meeting today. When the committees are present, if you want to address the committee, please come to the front, state your name, and address either me or the chairman of that committee. No, not the audience. If you have a topic not on the agenda, please wait till the end, and I will ask if there is anything else to be brought before the commission. Just a reminder, today is committee and preview day, and the official vote by the full commission will be tomorrow. In Director Carter's absence, I'm going to ask Miss Barbara or Barry or our new Assistant Director Bobby, who's gone already. There you are. Y'all have any announcements or comments?
I've got just Chairman Bledsoe, I just mentioned that Director Carter is on a plane on his way back from the annual meeting of the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies. He holds a couple of leadership positions at that organization, so we kind of need to be there, but we expect him to be here tomorrow.
Thanks, sir. Also, I'd like to mention that, or just kind of publicly in a commission meeting, congratulate Bobby on his new appointment to the assistant director. He got appointed before the last commission meeting, but he was on the road again, so y'all stay gone a lot, but anyway. Yeah. Moving on, any announcements from the commission?
Should we have the camera go on that fish for a minute? That's the new record.
Oh, Bobby, did you bring in a new record fish?
That, Doug Barkham had that record from me on display here.
If the camera wants to pan over there, it's very impressive.
Is that a record? It's a lot.
It's a replica from the state record in Chickamauga. So. Thank you very much.
I have a question. Are we gonna have to look at Steve Patrick in the meeting? You see up there?
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of like a memoriam. You know. Oh. All right.
No.
First up, before we get into our committees, I'd like to recognize Dwight Hensley, Chief of Engineering Division. Dwight? Go ahead, Bobby.
I want to introduce Dwight, but I also want to say something about Jim Elkins, who's getting the award today. He was probably one of the first people that I met when I started working for TWA many years ago, and he's got some stories about when I first met him. He said I had a snake in my hand, and he said that's far enough when he got about 10 feet away from me. But Jim's he recently retired, and he worked for 65 years, and that was back when the agency was the Game and Fish Commission at the time, and it was brand new. probably not even a year old, or just maybe a year old when Jim started. So he may be the longest serving state employee ever. I think we're still trying to find that information out, but we got several presentations here, and I just want to introduce Dwight and also say a few words about Jim, and we're sure going to miss him. So here's Dwight.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Commissioner Bledsoe. We would like to show some special recognition today to a very special person who is, we call a co-worker, a friend, and a gentleman. We all have grown to love, admire, and to respect him, and his name is Mr. Jim Elkins. Most of you either don't know him or have never met him. Jim, raise your hand back there so that there he is. It's often been said that if a man finds a job that he truly loves, that you never work a day in your life. And I think that's especially true for Mr. Jim. He started with the agency, as Bobby said, in 1950. He retired in August 2015. He spent his entire year, 65 years, with the Division of Engineering and Construction. Jim probably would not mind me telling this, but this month he just turned 91 years old. And he told me, I asked him the other day, I said, Jim, why did you want to retire? And he said, well, you know, I have a couple of things on my bucket list that I still want to accomplish. What are they? And Jim said, well, I've always found skydiving very interesting. And then he went on to say, I've always wanted to drive a race car at Daytona. And then he'd always wanted to play a couple of games in the NFL. Commissioner Teague, who's not here, might be able to help you on that last one. So he's got a thing he wants to do. He's 91, and he decided it was time to go do some other things, and we're truly going to miss him. The agency was established in 1949, and Jim has played a very major role in developing and constructing many of the facilities and all the structures that we have in service today. Did I do that? And, okay, go back on. In 2010, I met Mr. Jim Elkins at Buffalo Springs Hatchery. And we were looking for some utility lines up there that we were going to replace or repair. I can't remember the specifics, but we did not know where they were. We didn't have any as-built drawings, so we had no idea. So we had a pick and a shovel and a metal detector, and we were doing our dead-level best to find them. Jim shows up. We asked him to come by, and Jim tells us, I know there's a power line over here. It goes to that building. There's a 6-inch wire line over here. It goes to that building. It reduces to a 4. There's a 2 that tees off and goes to this other building. There's another 6-inch wire line over here. And I said, Jim, how do you know all that? There is no drawings. He said, well, I put them in 40 years ago. So we have kind of called Jim our walking, talking, as-built drawing machine, because we're going to truly miss him because he has a lot of good stories and a lot of history with him. After 65 years, we want to recognize his years of service in the agency, and we're going to talk a little bit about his military career. Jim, if you don't know it, served in World War II, and he landed at Normandy in 1944. Jim is here today surrounded with some of his family who came by with him to see, to celebrate with him some of the things that we're going to talk about and do. And also you'll see some of these guys sitting right here you've never seen before, and the uniforms or caps, and they are a lot of his co-workers, and they spend a lot of time out in the field with Jim. So what I want to do, the first thing is we got a couple of presentations, but first I'm going to play a short video that was produced in 2005. And it was produced for the Wild Side, and it's about Jim. So you'll have to take an ad. It talks about his years of service and his age. You have to add 10 years to that to get back to where we are now, of course. So I want to play it for you.
What you're good at is generally what you're passionate about.
I mean, the fact is, when you take a job, you never know how long you're going to stick with it.
The TWRA's Jim Elkins couldn't have known that he'd still be working for the agency 56 years after he joined. Jim's had a direct hand in building projects that have led to millions of fish being caught all across Tennessee. He's 81 now and still going strong. Wild Side guide Terry Bulger caught up with Jim on the job in Springfield.
Catching a fish in Tennessee waters takes effort, patience, and time, and not just for the fishermen. Long before entering the wild, many fish need time to grow in hatcheries across the state.
Move him over here.
And long before that, someone needs to build them.
Okay.
Since 1950, more often than not, that someone has been Jim Elkins.
Let me have that minute.
He's 81 and as hands-on as ever, leading a TWRA crew building a new 100-foot concrete raceway at Springfield Hatchery.
That side they'll raise fish in, and when they start harvesting fish, it'll come through the pipe, dump into this one, and they'll crowd them down at the other end and pick them out and put them in the truck.
Jim says it like he can see it, which he can. Experience means he can close his eyes and see the fishing future, like this Flintville Raceway he built years ago. But Jim is not just about the past. It's the work he's still doing every day that earns respect.
Man, he's 81 and he just back again, back again, back again. Just have to keep with it, or you'll never hear the end of it.
We'd let Jim do his thing. It's like standing back and let Rembrandt do his painting. Nobody needs to interfere.
His work ethic and commitment is as solid as set concrete. Open heart surgery in 1988 couldn't stop him, and a desk job would never suit him. Hard work and early to bed is his daily routine.
That I do. I get to bed early, and then I like to get up, 4 o'clock.
Considering his hard history and Great Depression childhood, all of this is no sweat.
Done one job, working on a potato farm, $1 a day. And the good part of that was it took 10 hours to do it. This is easier, really. That was day after day after day. This we work hard, 2 or 3 days, and we can coast a while.
10 years before he joined the agency, he joined the Army.
That was 20 years old. I thought I knew it quite a bit back then. I was with the B Company of the 26th Infantry of the 1st Division.
The Big Red One. He remembers the chaos of June 6, 1944.
Well, it was D-Day. It was where I first got in combat. They're sitting there on the other side telling you can't get across, and you're telling them you're coming. It gets pretty rough.
He's still as tough as a drill sergeant, but without the attitude.
Jim has the best disposition in the world. He may get agitated, but he never shows it.
His history still seeps into his reputation.
D-Day invasion, you see the old films, you're like, well, that was a long time ago. He was there, he landed on D-Day, he landed on the beach.
If you'll get on the other side of the board where you can pull as you go, if you'll get on this side, make it easier on both of you. You wouldn't have to worry about your backside if Jim were there.
Funny thing about Jim is how he got hired by the agency back in 1950. The folks doing the hiring weren't sure he was the right man for the job. When he told them he owned a 4-wheel drive Jeep, it cinched the deal. His TWRA legacy will be what he created.
Bass, walleye, hybrids, catfish, stripers, all of them. He's had a hand in producing the facilities that produce the fish.
Quietly and modestly, he knows what he has accomplished.
Yeah, I can look back and see things, with people enjoying that I had a part in. Like, well, when they stock trout, I know they come out of the raceways I built. Getting enjoyment out of that.
Enjoyment he gets and has given most of his life to Tennessee. I'm Terry Bulger on Tennessee's Wild Side.
A member of the greatest generation. Jim, you're an inspiration to all of us.
An American who has served his country and the citizens of this state so much that it would be almost impossible to thank him enough.
I got a couple of things that I want to give Jim. And Jim, I want to talk about both of them, and then you can come up and we'll hand both of them to you, take some pictures. This is a plaque that the agency is giving Jim, and it's hard to see. It's glass, it's etched. Upper left-hand corner, it has the logo of TWRA. Lower right-hand bottom, it has a backhoe etched in there. Jim was always operating heavy equipment, was always involved in construction. And then it says, it's inscripted, it says 65 years of dedicated service, Jim Elkins, 1950 to 2015. And then there is a quote on here by Abraham Lincoln. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, but it's the life that's in your years. That's the first one. We got one more over here, which I got it up there on the screen. I like to read it. All the guys and gals in engineering, we got one lady. So the folks in engineering want to do something special for Jim. So they kind of did a this is your life type scenario. Come up with 3 or 4 pages, and my task was to reduce it down to 1 page. So I was able to do that, and this will be given to Jim here in just a minute. But what you have here framed and matted is up there on the screen. I'd like to read it to you. Presented by the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission, September the 17th, 2015, Jim Elkins. As you will notice up in the left-hand corner, we put the big red 1 up there. That was something I think that he is proud of, and he certainly should be. James Elkins was born and raised in Harlan County, Kentucky, one of 5 children born to Dave and Dora Elkins. He married Sarah, and they had 3 children, Barry, Rita, and Mark. They made their home and raised their children in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. His beloved wife of 64 years passed away February 2012. He grew up in the Great Depression, joined the military at 19 years of age, served in World War II while being an active member of the United States Army from February the 24th, 1943 through October the 8th, 1945. He served as a combat and infantryman in B Company of the 26th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Infantry Division. Jim fought in Normandy, northern France, Belgium, and the Rhineland. As a member of the Big Red 1, Jim came ashore in the second wave of the invasion of Normandy on Omaha Beach, June the 6th, 1944, and better noted in history as D-Day. Jim was awarded a Purple Heart for wounds received on September the 18th, 1944, while in battle in Germany. He was honorably discharged on October the 8th, 1945. In 1949, the Tennessee Game and Fish Commission was established, and 1 year later, on August 1st, 1950, Jim started his career with the future Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency as a part-time engineering aide. Jim was hired full-time on January the 1st, 1960. After 65 years of service and numerous reclassifications, promotions, and title changes, he retired on August the 1st, 2015 as a Transportation Technician 3 within the Division of Engineering and Construction. Everyone in TWRA understands what a unique, irreplaceable, and special person Jim is, and how fortunate TWRA has been for his many years of service and dedication. We will always consider Mr. Jim Elkins as TWRA's #1 resource. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Dwight, and thank you, Mr. Elkins. I mean, that's an incredible, I know it's been your life's passion, and we really appreciate reaping the benefits of the things that you've done, and you will be definitely missed. All right, moving on to the committees, Wildlife Committee, Chairman Jeff McMillan.
Thank you, Chairman Bledsoe. At this time, we'd like to ask Mark Dudley to come up and speak about our dove.
Good afternoon. As you know, our dove season opened at noon on September 1st, so we're a little over 2 weeks into the season here, and I'd just like to give you a brief overview of some of the public dove hunting opportunities and success that we've had. As you see on the graph here with our regions, we had a total of 84 public fields available, those broken down into fields that are on our wildlife management areas that our area managers and technicians prepared. And then we also have lease fields where we lease from private landowners dove hunting opportunities for a minimum of 3 days. See, we had a lot of WMA opportunities in Region 1 and Region 3, and conversely had more lease fields in Regions 2 and 4. So pretty even distribution of public dove hunting opportunities, and those also do include numerous youth fields that were in each region. Total of 84 fields. As far as the dove harvest goes, we have our personnel would try to go out on most of these fields and do bag check surveys on opening day or Labor Day weekend. And out of the people that we checked are about a little over 4,000 hunters and almost 15,000 doves taken total on those fields for an average of 3.6 doves per hunter. Last year was 3.2, so it was up a little bit. And as you see, the best success that we had was in West Tennessee and on the other end of the state in East Tennessee, from what I understand, one of the best years they've had, averaging almost 5 doves per hunter. Pretty good, considering there's probably a lot of people that shoot like me out there. And while we have $100,000 in our budget for dove fields, we spent $72,000 this year, which was more than we did last year. Our personnel go out and trying to lease fields. Sometimes it's hard to find landowners that have a crop maturing at the right time. But this is the total that we came up with in as far as our lease field opportunities. We do have a spring lease option in there, but there are only 2 spring lease fields. In fact, I had this program years ago when I was small game program coordinator, and I know at least a year or two we did try to check the success on spring lease fields versus fall lease, and there wasn't any significant difference, at least at that time. With that, any other questions that you might have? We do have a 90-day season, so there are a lot of dove hunting opportunities available in 3 different segments of the season. The first one ends the 28th of this month.
Is there any questions for Mark? I appreciate you pointing out the boys in Region 4 are our best shots in the state, so. If there's not any questions for Mark on the dove, I would like, and if you need till December, I would like to maybe for you to present an update to the commission concerning our quail plan and how that's been going for the things that we have going on in West Tennessee and all. I'd like to just, if we could get an update on that, because we haven't heard anything about quail this year.
Okay.
That'd be
sure,
okay?
That would be just fine.
If you need till December, that'd be fine. But do you have a question, Bill? Yeah. The spring lease fields, are they fields that, are they just regular crop fields that they try to lease, or did you try to get them to plant sunflowers or?
Yes, we try to get them to plant crops such as sunflowers or soybean millet combination, and then, you know, at say a month before the season, start bush hogging, make sure it gets planted early enough that the seed matures early, and then start putting some seed on the ground in at least two passes to try to draw up, a good number of birds that stay on that field.
Why do you think there's resistance to that?
Well, one, probably in order to get more people doing it, we probably need to increase the price on the fall leases this year, it was $75 an acre, 40-acre maximum, and on the spring lease fields, $225 per acre. And probably you're looking at sunflowers, with John, probably about maybe even close to $300 in some cases if they're looking at a higher priced crop such as sunflower to put in, and so probably not a big enough margin of profit, if they are taking that land out of what would normally be in their cropping operations. And conversely, if we increase the amount significantly, it's less money to spread among other fields, but that's probably one of the reasons why it's a little harder. And then it does take that attention by someone during the year to follow up, compliance, make sure that the crop is getting planted by the target dates, planted properly, and make sure that they're managing the field prior to the season. If any of the other, Manager Fords are in here and have any other perspectives, I haven't worked with the program in a few years.
Were you looking for John? I don't see John here. You said Region 4.
Well, John Mike
okay.
was here, and then
Okay.
see Richard over there. I don't know if you have any other perspectives, but I know our people do go out and look hard to try to find those fall lease fields, and we do advertise in the spring.
What can we do to improve? This 3.6 average is pretty bad. What can we do to improve?
Teach them to shoot.
Dove hunting, I mean,
I understand that, but I mean, if you're averaging Region 2, 1.9 or 1.7 per person, that's we're leasing fields that have already been harvested, and I mean, I'm just thinking about changing the program somehow to make it better.
we will be getting together to look at what ways we can improve the program, if there are, and sometimes you can spend a lot of time preparing a field on a WMA. Even I know we've had plenty of situations like that, and then you've got the doves there, and then 2 days before the opening season, all of a sudden they're harvesting corn and cutting silage all around, and the birds are drawn off to that new food source, and so you can spend a lot of time, and there's no guaranteed assurances on it, and success will vary from one region to another, from one year to year.
I know that in East Tennessee, our dove situation was really good this year, but I was working with the foundation on a hunt, and Johnny Allred said that just the day, like 2 days before, and he was in Region 2, and there were thousands and thousands of doves, and the day they had their hunt, they just disappeared. So it doesn't take but one cold rain to push them out. So it is something that no matter how much effort you go to, you can have a great field and have doves all summer, and they can disappear just overnight. So it's kind of a crapshoot, really. So I thought the program this year went real well, but overall, in the whole state. But like I said, you just got to learn to shoot better too, right? So windy day, they're hard to hit too. So, but I appreciate it. Does anybody else got any questions for Mark? But I do appreciate if y'all accumulate some information on how the quail program's going, maybe by December.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do
All
that,
right.
and just let me know which commission meeting you want that by.
Well,
This December.
okay. Did you? What do you think? December or October? We don't have a meeting in November, and October's pretty quick. So we'll say December.
That would be great. That'd
Okay.
be just fine.
Was there any questions from the audience? All right. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
That concludes the Wildlife Management Committee.